Have you ever walked into a room and bam, you're instantly back in some old memory just from a smell?
Oh, absolutely.
Or maybe you feel a certain way, happy or anxious, and you can't quite figure out why.
Hmm.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into the surprising, often invisible power of scent.
It's everywhere, but we barely notice it sometimes.
Exactly. Our mission here is to unpack some really recent scientific findings. We've got stuff from medical news today, studies in frontiers and neuroscience.
Good sources.
Yeah, really solid stuff. And it shows how odors hit our brains in ways you might never expect, influencing, memory, how hard we're thinking.
Even trust.
Even trust between people. It's wild.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, how much of our whole experience is shaped by something we're, well, barely conscious of.
Right.
So we'll dig into the mechanisms behind all this, maybe what it could mean for you, whether you're trying to boost your memory or just understand these subtle cues.
Okay, let's get into it. First up, memory. How can a simple smell just unlock this flood, right? It feels almost like magic.
It does feel like that. But the science is pretty profound. What's really fascinating is the unique way smell connects to the brain.
How so? Different from a sight or sound.
Totally different. See, olfactory information, smell info, it bypasses the thalamus. That's the brain's usual sorting station for senses.
Okay, so where does it go?
Straight to the limbic system. We're talking the amygdala, the hippocampus.
Ah, the big players for emotion and long-term memory.
Exactly. That direct hotline. That's why scents can trigger such incredibly vivid, emotionally charged memories, almost instantly.
So, okay, if the link is that direct, can we actually use this? Like, to actively improve memory, can we bottle up brain power?
Well, people are definitely trying. There was a really interesting clinical study recently from the University of California, Irvine.
Oh, yeah. What did they look at?
They focused on older adults ages 60 to 85 and explored whether nightly aromatherapy could help with memory.
Nightly aromatherapy. Okay.
Yeah.
How did they set it up?
Participants had a diffuser in their bedroom. It ran for 2 hours each night as they slept, for 6 months straight.
Wow, 6 months. What scents?
They rotated through 7 different essential oils: rose, orange, eucalyptus, lemon, peppermint, rosemary, and lavender. A different one each night.
Okay. And they had a control group?
Yep, a control group got exposed to just tiny, choice amounts, basically nothing.
And the results, you said they were remarkable.
They really were. Get this. The group that got the real aromatherapy, they showed a 226% improvement on a key memory test compared to the controls.
Whoa, wait. 226%.
226, yeah. On the Ray auditory verbal learning test, it's a standard test, basically recalling word lists. Measures verbal learning memory.
That's not just a small bump. That's huge. So is this it? The memory hack we've all been waiting for?
Uh-huh.
Or are there catches?
Well, there are always considerations, right? But yeah, that 226% is a seriously significant number.
Did they figure out why? Like, what was happening in the brain?
They did link it to better functioning in a specific brain pathway. It's called the left uncinate fasciculus.
Uncinate fasciculus. Okay, break that down.
Think of it as a critical highway connecting parts of the brain involved in learning and memory. It's a pathway that often deteriorates with age, and especially with conditions like Alzheimer's.
So the scents were somehow upgrading that highway.
That seems to be the implication. One of the senior authors, Dr. Michael Leon, pointed out that just increasing odor stimulation seems to improve these memory centers. And because smell has that direct access,
Right, the shortcut.
aromatherapy becomes a pretty low-effort way to give those centers a workout.
Okay, that sounds incredibly promising. But you mentioned considerations, the catches.
Absolutely. We need perspective. First, the sample size for the detailed cognitive tests was quite small. Only 23 people total in that part 12 getting the sense, 11 controls.
Why so small?
It seems the COVID-19 pandemic impacted their recruitment and follow-up. That's a definite limitation.
Okay, what else?
Also, these participants had healthy cognition to start with. They didn't have dementia or significant memory problems. So we don't know if this works for people already experiencing impairment.
Right, that makes sense. Does it matter who funded it?
Well, it's worth noting Procter & Gamble provided funding. And importantly, not all previous studies looking at smells and memory have found such strong positive results. It's not entirely consistent across the board.
So mixed signals from past research.
A bit, yeah. But the general feeling from some experts reviewing this study is, look, nightly aromatherapy seems pretty safe. It might help with sleep, too. It's probably something worth trying.
But manage expectations.
Exactly. Don't expect a guaranteed miracle cure. Even in this study, only about half the people in the scent group actually showed memory improvement. The 226% was the average improvement among those who improved, which is still impressive, but not everyone benefited equally.
Okay, that's a really important nuance. So scent impacts stored memories. What about, like, how hard our brain is working right now? Active thinking.
Mental effort. Yes, scent seems to play a role there too. Maybe not in the way you'd think.
How so?
There was this other fascinating study published in Brain Sciences. They used virtual reality, VR,
Okay.
and EEG brain scanning.
Measuring brain waves. Got it.
Right. They wanted to see how sense affected mental effort while people processed information during a simulated train journey.
A virtual train ride. Why a train?
To create a realistic, controlled environment where they could deliver specific audio messages and measure the response, they used two scents.
Let me guess. Something activating and something relaxing.
Exactly. Lemon often linked to alertness, cleanliness, like in cleaning products.
Right.
And lavender, the classic relaxation, calming scent.
Okay. So 42 healthy adults on a VR train smelling either lemon or lavender. What were they measuring?
Their mental effort, specifically using EEG to look at frontal theta activity. Higher theta waves generally mean the brain is working harder, putting in more cognitive effort.
And they heard different messages.
Yet some were just generic, like a welcome message. Others were informative, like a warning about the train slowing down due to a technical issue.
Okay, so the prediction would be lemon makes you alert, less effort needed. Lavender makes you relaxed, maybe more effort needed if you're zoning out. Or less because you're calm.
That's what you might think. But the results were really surprising.
Don't leave me hanging.
Okay. Overall, the people exposed to lavender actually showed significantly more mental effort throughout the whole trip compared to the lemon group.
More effort with lavender, the relaxing scent.
Yes. And specifically, when that important, informative message played the train delay, warning the lavender group's brains kicked into significantly higher gear, showing much more mental effort than the lemon group.
That seems backwards. Why would relaxation lead to more brain work?
Well, the researchers suggest it's not about being sluggish. The lavender might create a calm state that actually makes you more receptive to processing important information deeply, like a cognitive disclosure, they called it.
So, less mentally agitated, maybe, but more available to really think about the details.
That seems to be the idea. You're calm, so you're better prepared to engage with and elaborate on important environmental cues, not just react, but process.
Did the lavender make the trip feel worse? Like, were people annoyed or less engaged?
That's a key point, no. Self-reported pleasantness, how involved they felt. No difference between the lemon and lavender groups. So the increased mental effort didn't seem to come at the cost of the experience.
Wow. So if I'm trying to really focus on absorbing something important, maybe lavender isn't the enemy. It might actually help me dig deeper.
That's what this study suggests. It challenges that simple activating versus relaxing dichotomy. It might be more about fostering a state of receptive focus.
Mind blown. Okay, were there any weird quirks or challenges with this VRE-adjacent setup?
Definitely some interesting notes. Get this. More than half the participants, 57%, said they didn't even notice a distinct smell.
Seriously, even though it was flowing continuously.
Yep, and only 21% could actually name the fragrance correctly.
But the brain effect, the increased mental effort with lavender, still showed up.
It still showed up significantly.
Right.
Which really highlights how powerfully sense can affect us, even below the level of conscious awareness. Unconscious processing.
That is wild. What about limitations?
Sure. It's considered preliminary. Combining VR and EEG is tricky. You can get electrical noise from the headset, movement artifacts.
Technical stuff.
Right. And they didn't measure individual smell sensitivity thresholds. But still, it's a powerful demonstration that these neurotools can pick up subtle cognitive shifts driven by scent, even unconscious ones.
Okay, unconscious influence. That brings us to something even more, mind-bending. Could a smell actually affect how much we trust someone?
It sounds like sci-fi, doesn't it? But apparently, yes. There's research suggesting it can.
Seriously? How?
A study in Frontiers in Psychology looked into this. They focused on the subtle signaling strength of smells and trust, specifically one compound.
Hexanol.
Hexanol. What's that?
It's a compound with a sort of grassy smell. It's found naturally in human body odors.
And interestingly, also in lavender.
Huh. Okay, so what was the hypothesis? That hexanol boosts trust?
Essentially, yes. But they wanted to see if it worked implicitly, even if you couldn't consciously smell it, because it was masked by another scent.
Masked? Oh, okay. How did they test that?
They did a couple of studies. The first one used a classic trust game.
How does that work?
They got 90 female participants. Each got €10 and had to decide how much to send to another person, a trustee. The more they sent, the more trust they were showing.
Makes sense. And the smells.
They were randomly put in one of three conditions, either smelling hexanol directly, smelling clove oil, that's eugenol, another scent sometimes in body odor, used here as the mask.
Okay, the cover scent.
Right. Or the crucial condition, smelling hexanol that was masked by the clove odor, so theoretically undetectable.
And did it work? Did the hidden hexanol do anything?
It did. This is the kicker.
Yeah.
The participants smelling the masked hexanol sent significantly more money to the trustee compared to those just smelling the clove mask.
Wow. Even though they couldn't consciously smell the hexanol.
Exactly. It was the first time research showed an undetectable masked smell could actually enhance interpersonal trust.
That's incredible. Did they confirm it somehow?
They did a second study to reinforce it. This time, 35 women, double-blind setup. They rated the trustworthiness of different faces shown on a screen, like morphing faces from untrustworthy to trustworthy.
While smelling the different scent conditions again.
Yep. Same three conditions. Hexanol, clove mask, or masked hexanol.
And the result?
Same pattern. Faces were rated as significantly more trustworthy when the participants were smelling the masked hexanol compared to just the clove mask.
So even when it was consciously indistinguishable from the cover scent, it was still nudging their perception of trustworthiness upwards.
Precisely. It's quite something.
Stepping back, what does this tell us about how our brains are wired?
Well, it really points back to that olfactory shortcut we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
That subcortical highway smell takes directly to the limbic areas like the amygdala.
Bypassing conscious thought.
Right, so these chemical signals might be triggering really old, deep-seated patterns related to social cues, approach avoidance behavior, safety signals, all without us necessarily being aware of it.
So we think we're making rational decisions about trust, but our noses might be having a secret vote.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It suggests this whole invisible layer to social interaction. It's not just about a room smelling nice, specific compounds, even hidden ones could be subtly influencing pretty fundamental perceptions and behaviors.
You can see how this applies beyond just person-to-person stuff, right? Like marketing.
Oh, absolutely. The psychology of scent is huge in retail, branding. Using pleasant smells to make products seem higher quality, make people linger longer in stores, build brand associations.
Yeah.
And it connects to other research, too. Work reported by Science Daily shows how the amygdala helps us make decisions based on these kinds of indirect associations. Problems in those circuits might even underlie issues in things like PTSD or psychosis.
So understanding these scent pathways could even have therapeutic potential down the line.
Potentially, yes. Understanding how the brain processes these subtle, often unconscious signals is crucial.
Were there limitations to these trust studies we should know about?
Yes, definitely. A key one is that they mainly used female participants.
Why women?
Generally, women tend to have a more sensitive sense of smell on average, so they might be more susceptible to these effects. But it means we don't know for sure if these results apply equally to men.
Good point.
They also acknowledge that things like where someone is in their menstrual cycle or their baseline level of empathy could potentially play a role, though they tried to account for some factors.
So more research needed across genders and maybe looking for other compounds that might do similar things.
Exactly. It's a really intriguing area, but still needs more exploration to see how broad these effects are and what other chemical signals might be influencing us implicitly.
Man. Okay, so we've really covered some ground here. From scent unlocking powerful memories.
Yeah, that direct line to the hippocampus and amygdala.
To influencing how hard our brain actually works on a task, sometimes in surprising ways.
Right, like lavender potentially boosting deeper processing, not hindering it.
And even subtly shaping something as fundamental as trust, maybe without us even realizing it.
That undetectable hexanol effect is pretty mind-blowing.
It really underscores how much is going on beneath the surface, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Knowledge is great, but understanding how it applies is key. And what really stands out here is just how much our brains are influenced by these environmental cues we often filter out or don't consciously register.
Yeah.
It just speaks to the incredible complexity of our whole sensory experience.
So the big takeaway for you listening, what does all this mean? Well, maybe next time you catch a whiff of something, lavender, lemon, fresh cut grass, whatever.
Yeah.
Just take a second. Consider what invisible conversations your brain might be having. How might those subtle signals be quietly shaping your thoughts, your feelings, even your decisions?
A fascinating thought.
Maybe, just maybe, being truly well-informed, truly understanding ourselves, Means paying attention not just to the obvious stuff, but to all our senses, even the ones working silently in the background, subtly orchestrating things.
A provocative thought to end on. What's your nose telling you right now?